Okay, welcome back to Sable's Grimoire. I know I missed uploading yesterday. I saw that I got another subscriber. Thanks for subscribing. And I figure if you're watching the series through, you might as well subscribe so you know when I post a video. And let's continue on with the story. The thought of spending this lesson in the library does cross my mind. But after the saga in the classroom, I doubt I'll be able to get much studying done until my mind is at ease once more. A bit of rest is exactly what I need. Seriously though, what's gotten into everybody? It seems like ever since that assembly, the whole academy has gone nuts. Maybe it's because I'm a human being, but really I don't see what the big deal is. If everyone would just listen to the principal and hear him out like I did, I'm sure all of this drama could be avoided. Now, the only reason he thinks that is because he is human, and I know they say they're kind, but I guess it's like a group of demi-human. They see it as hunting their own, because for some reason it's always humans versus demi-humans. Because even in their name, they have demi-human, so amusing myself with such an optimistic thought, I lay down on my bed and look up at the bunk above mine. The moment I do, I notice something odd out of the corner of my eye. Tix? He looks like he caught me. I came down from my bunk to sneak a peek. I didn't think you'd catch me in the act. Sneak a peek? Why would you want to do that? We see each other almost every day. Yes, but not at this time of the day. I thought that you might have returned early because you were injured or feeling unwell, so I wanted to check on you. Thanks for your concern, Tix, but I'm fine. It's everyone else who seems to be sick in the head lately. So it's gotten to your class too, huh? I'm no fan of hunters or humans for that matter, but even I think this whole thing has gotten out of hand. I know, right? My whole class is in shambles. Can you believe that I was just thrown out of my own classroom for being human? Whoa, seriously? It's gotten that bad? My class isn't doing too well, but we haven't gotten to that stage yet, which is kind of surprising considering we have a human who joined the hunt in our class. Oh, right, you're in Norm's class, aren't you? How's he holding up? Beats me. I've barely been attending at all since this fiasco started. He seemed fine the last time I saw him, though he didn't exactly get along with our classmates from the beginning. So honestly, I don't think there's been much of a change. Yeah, that does sound like Norm. Maybe I should have taken a page out of his book and kept my distance from my classmates too. Don't say that. Not all demi-humans are gonna scorn you for being human, you know. Better yet, unlike the other human in our grade, you don't cave in and join the hunt. In my eyes, that makes you one of the better humans out there. Thanks, Tix. I appreciate that. I know that not all demi-humans feel like those classmates of mine. At the very least, none of my close acquaintances seem to have changed how they feel about me since the mess began. Even so, it is difficult to suddenly be thrown into the heart of a debate I want nothing to do with. So you know what? Since we're both outside of class anyway, perhaps we should do something together. I've been thinking about finding a sparring partner and maybe a study buddy. You're not busy right now, and your grades aren't completely awful, so maybe you'd be a good fit after all. Surprised by Tick's impulsive proposal, I take a second to think over what she had just said. While I just think that level isn't quite what I had in mind when I left the classroom, it certainly couldn't hurt. In fact, spending some time doing something out of the ordinary might be just what I need. I'd like to return to Ray and F sooner rather than later in order to smooth things over, but given the current state of things, that might prove difficult. Perhaps I should accept Tick's offer after all and take a break from all this unnecessary drama. I am 100% going with Tick's. I think I might just take you up on that offer. I'm not going to get anything done in class while everyone is staring daggers at me, so I might as well be productive somewhere else. That's the spirit. Come on, let's hit the courtyard. Show me that little gravity trick of yours one more time. I'm not gonna use something that dangerous. I already learned my lesson last. Hey, wait, where are you going? At least put some clothes on before you head out there. Hey, Tix. Not a worry in the world. Courtyard, I thought it'd be that middle area we were always in. When I point out that she's still naked, Tix shrugs and flies further away from the academy, deep into the forest. By the time that she's stopped, we're far away from the eyes of others. There, is that better? Nobody can see us out here, so it's fine if I'm naked. Hardly. Do you have any idea what people would think if they found us out here like this? I don't know what it's like for pixies, but as for humans are concerned, being naked in the woods with someone of the opposite sex is a bit... Well, what's wrong with being naked in the woods? Being naked is perfectly natural. If anything, I'd say that wearing clothes while you're surrounded by nature is far more strange. It may be natural, but that doesn't mean it isn't suspicious or embarrassing. Even pixies usually wear clothes, right? Well, most of the time. Pause. Sorry about that. I had to pause the recording for a second. Got a present from my boss before she leaves. Okay. Even pixies usually wear clothes, right? Well, yeah, most of the time. But it's such a pain, don't you think? Washing, changing, making new clothes. Oh, and when you increase your body size, but you forget to take your clothes off first, so the entire outfit is torn to shreds. Ugh. That is just the worst. Smile warily as Tix elaborates on her unusual problem. For a human being like me, it's difficult to appreciate the problems faced by my friends and classmates at the academy. Draken goes through great pains to clean her wings properly every day, not to mention the maintenance of her horns and tail. Ath must remain wary of plant-eating insects. Tix just constantly changes sizes and outfits. Rain needs to eat her own body weight in meat every day or she'll die, or so she claims. When I think about these daily troubles of theirs, I'm reminded that while they may look and act similar to human beings, humans and demi-humans are still fundamentally different creatures. You put it like that, I can kind of see where you're coming from. Constantly shrinking and growing must make getting changed a real chore. Right? Easier if I could just grow and shrink my clothes as well. I just never got the hang of that. Wait. There's a spell like that? Well, there is, but... Tix shakes her head. It's too tricky. Trying to grow or shrink your body at the exact same rate as the clothing is too difficult to be practical. That makes sense. If you shrink your clothes more quickly than your body, or you increase the size of your body more quickly than your outfit, your clothes will tear. If you do the opposite, your clothes will be too big for you, and they'll shift around while you're changing your size. At that point, you need to undress and fix your clothing anyway. Yep, you nailed it. Changing the size of clothing is totally different than performing muscle reinforcement magic, so it's hard to do both simultaneously with any reasonable degree of precision. I see that does sound tricky. Tell me about it. That's why I only wear my uniform when I have it. Clothes are a hassle. If the cost of being naked is that I get googled by repressed perverts like yourself, then that's a price I'm willing to pay. Repressed perverts. I chuckle nervously at Tix's harsh comment. Oh, don't look at me like that. I'm being called. I will be... Almost tempted to restart this recording. I'm only 9 minutes in. But let's keep pushing. Oh, don't look at me like that. I'm no worse than you are, mister. Sleep is for the weak. Where'd my mouse go? There it is. We all have things that we think are too much of a hassle. My gripe is just a bit more obvious to others. I don't think my desires to be productive is really on the same level as your disdain for clothing. Anyway, enough about that. We didn't come here to talk about nudity. You wanted to spar, right? I didn't really get into magic for the sake of fighting, but I don't think practicing protective spells could be useful. You never know when you might need to erect a barrier. Yeah? Erect, huh? Tix lowers her gaze. What, is something wrong? No, it's nothing. I was just thinking how strange it is that a certain something isn't erect, that's all. For crying out loud, Tix. Hey, I'm the one who should be frustrated here. You've been staring at my naked body all this time, yet you haven't reacted at all. Probably because he sees it all the time when you're tiny. You're hurting my pride, Sable. Yeah, well, you're damaging my sanity. If you're going to waste so much time obsessing over this nonsense, spare a minute to shrink your clothing next time. Alright, Sheesh, it was just a joke. Don't lose your cool. I really do want to get your help with something. Lead with that next time. I'm always interested in learning more about demi-humans, but Tix's frankness about things like nudity and sex makes it a bit difficult to stay on topic. So what can I help you with, Tix? Are we here to practice something specific? If this was all a ruse that you could complain about clothing, I'm out of here. It's nothing like that. I was just using that topic to break the ice, okay? And now that we're past that point, Tix narrows her gaze, wiping every hint of joy and amusement from her face. Oh, jeez. How serious is this gonna be? Finally, she's ready to get down to business. Rather than a study buddy or sparring partner, I've been thinking since our first class together that you might be suited to a rather different role. Are you trying to fuck me right now? Since our first class together. Oh. Think back to my first day at the academy. Even though Tix isn't in my class, we have indeed participated in certain classes together. Most notably, our classes joined together on our first day and during a practical spell casting lesson. Tix, along with everyone else in our class, was present when I lost control of a spell I was casting while trying to show off. You're not particularly powerful, and your grades are nothing special either. But that spell you cast and things you study every night. You know a lot about spells themselves, don't you? Yeah, you could say that. I may be lacking in certain areas compared to other students in our grade, but when it comes to creating new spells, I'm certain that I stand right at the very top. You're that confident even after screwing up so badly on your first day? Casting a spell is a little bit different than creating one. Just because I've created a spell, that doesn't mean I've mastered it, or even that I'm capable of using it. Where you're planning on asking me to create a specific spell for you, Tix. Never taken a request like that before, but I suppose there's no reason why I couldn't. Don't get ahead of yourself, Sable. I didn't say anything like that. I just wanted someone to glance over my work. I don't need you to do it for me. Glance over your work? You mean you've been creating spells of your own too? Well, just the one spell for the time being. That's great. What kind of spell are you working on? It's complicated. Most of the fun spells are. Is it a healing spell, another muscle reinforcement spell, or maybe a new way to shrink your clothes down with the rest of your body? I think you're giving me too much credit. If I had that kind of talent, I wouldn't be asking for help like this. Don't sell yourself short, Tix. I think the fact that you're trying to create a new spell of any kind is already a tremendous feat. Are you making fun of me? No, not at all. Most of my classmates refuse to even try to create a new spell, let alone show anyone else their work. If you're willing to not only show me what you got, but also ask for my input, then you already are far above the rest of them. You know, flattery won't get you anywhere, and this really isn't an impressive spell or anything. I smile and nod as I wait for Tix to continue on her own. I'm tempted to hide, because I think she just has her hands. Yeah, that's what I thought. Smile and nod. Fine, I'll get on with it. It's small and it won't last long, so pay attention, okay? Tix takes a step back and raises one arm in front of her body. She turns her palm upward as though she is holding up a book with one hand in front of her, and closes her eyes and begins to chant softly under her breath. After a few seconds, a bright purple flame manifests on top of her hand, only to then vanish as suddenly as it appeared. Okay. Is it to just change the color of fire? Make a hotter fire? How was that? Did you see it? What is it? Do you need me to cast it again? Give me a minute. It's not an easy spell to use. No, you don't need to cast it again. Once is plenty. I'm just trying to collect my thoughts, that's all. If I'm not mistaken, that was a mixture of combustion magic and freezing magic, wasn't it? You can tell that much after only seeing it once? Of course, creating spells and analyzing them are two sides of the same coin, you know? Then what did you think? I know it's not perfect and not terribly useful, but I thought you should give it up. What do you mean I should give up? I know I still have some more work to do, but at least I'm right on track, aren't I? Regrettably, I shake my head. That line of spell creation is one you should abandon immediately. You said this was the only spell you've been working on, right? Quite frankly, you're doing yourself no favors by going straight for difficult conjecturary spells like this. Mixing elements is not only hard, it's also dangerous. Getting two opposing elements like fire and ice to work in tandem is a feat in and of itself. Jumping in with both feet might seem like more fun, but it'll take far more time and effort for you to see any results whatsoever. You should start simpler. Pick something you're already familiar with and work with that. As a fellow spell creator, that is my advice to you. Tick's gaze narrows as I give her my blunt assessment of what I've just seen. While I'm impressed that Tix has managed to get this far as she has, that feat alone is not enough to convince me that pursuing such a spell is a worthy use of her time. As someone who has walked down that very same path myself, I'm all too familiar with the troubles which lay ahead if Tix continues on her current course. That's your advice. You're telling me to give up when I'm only just started. No, I'm saying you should start with something easier. Spell creation is a fun exercise, but as soon as you start putting theory into practice, complex spells become needlessly dangerous. Like you can talk, you attack 2 full classes of students with your original spell. That's exactly my point. I've been creating new spells for years. I've developed dozens, if not hundreds of spells on my own. In spite of that, I still made a critical mistake which could have easily led to the deaths of our classmates. So when I say that you should start simpler, please believe that there is a good reason why I'm telling you to do so. It's for your own good. Yeah, right. Look, I didn't come here to receive a lecture on spell creating safety, alright? Just because you got cocky and screwed up, that doesn't mean that I'll do the same. Unlike you, I've been using magic since the day I was born. I'm far more talented than a stupid human like you. There's no way I'd screw up like you did. I'm not suggesting that you'll make the same kind of mistake that I did. I just think that if you're going to be playing with fire, both figuratively and literally, then you should be adequately cautious. Whatever. I don't know why I thought it would be a good idea to show you my work in the first place. You're obviously incapable of appreciating my genius. Forget about our little study session, I'm out. Without another word, Tick shrinks down to her natural size and flies up into the treetops. In a matter of seconds, she has completely vanished. Even if I keep talking and attempting to continue our conversation, she won't be able to hear me. So much for being productive outside of the classroom. I got to see a new spell for half a second, but that's it. Our study session is already over. I suppose I also learned that Tix has a passion outside of clothing and breeding, but considering how things ended just now, she probably won't want to discuss her foray into spell creation again anytime soon. Heaving a rather lengthy sigh, I turn towards the academy and make my way out of the forest. Well, I've already started to skip this lesson. I might as well hit the library and put the rest of this period to good use. Maybe I'll play around with a new spell or two myself. So I agree with Sable. 100%. After studying by myself in the library for the remainder of the lesson, I make my way to the cafeteria. I head out for a short time before the end of class as to avoid running into any of my classmates. My brief encounter with Tix may have shifted my focus, but the fact still remains that my classmates are rather highly strung at the moment. For the sake of preserving peace, I decided to avoid other students for just a little while longer. Still, I'm going to have to return to class eventually. I already declined the principal's offer, so it's not like I can just skip class at my whim without suffering any of the repercussions. I mean, I could always tell him that I've changed my mind and decided to join the hunt after all. I get the feeling that doing so would only make matters even worse. My classmates are this worked up now. How would they react to the only human in their class deciding to join the hunt after all? I walk up to the counter and purchase an apple while I'm still deep in thought. Hanging around the cafeteria seems like an unnecessary risk. and I'm not particularly hungry, so a piece of fruit should be plenty. What am I doing? Should I just attend classes like normal and see what happens? I'd like to think that my classmates wouldn't do anything too extreme, but in reality, I don't know most of them very well. I honestly can't say what goes on inside their minds. I really might be putting myself in danger by returning to my classroom. Thinking those needlessly pessimistic thoughts, I finish eating the apple I've purchased and throw the core in the bin. I suppose I don't really have much of a choice. What point is there is even attending this academy if I'm not going to go to class? If my classmates cause a fuss, I'll find some way to deal with it. For now, that's about all I can do. I enter the hallway just as classes end. Cursing my bad timing, I stick to the wall as dozens of students pass by me, paying me no mind as they head straight to the cafeteria. Once the majority of them have passed, I slowly head towards my classroom, hoping to take my seat while this room is more or less empty. The moment I reach the door, however, I find two familiar figures blocking my way. Well, would you look at what we have here? It isn't the infamous truant himself. Tyrant, or truant. Hi, girls. You're heading to the cafeteria, right? I'll just get out of your way. Oh, no, you don't. You aren't escaping that easily. I'm not trying to escape. Usually charge out the door the moment class ends. I'm not stupid enough to get between you and your lunch. Wise decision. Hey, what are you implying? I'm not like that. If I were, would I be standing here talking instead of begging for scraps? You're only lingering because you're broke. She's waiting for everyone else to finish eating so she can swipe their leftovers. This isn't about me, alright? You're the one who was skipping classes, remember? In the woods with a pixie, no less. What? How'd you know about that? I saw you from the classroom window. Stop looking out the window and pay attention to your teacher. Oh, don't be like that. I know you're embarrassed, but that's no reason to lash out. I'm not embarrassed. Then why are you blushing? Really, what were you doing out there, Mr. Honor Student? Procreating? Of course not. Look, I'm not embarrassed, okay? I'm just ashamed. Ashamed of what you did with the pixie? I'm ashamed that I was caught skipping class. I just didn't feel like enduring the anonymity of our classmates, you know? Class is tense. Yeah, it's kind of heavy at the moment. But it's not that bad. It's not like our classmates are throwing punches or anything. It's certainly nothing worth skipping class over. That is unless, you know. Ray stares at me intently with a smirk on her face. Unless you have something better to do with that pixie friend of yours. Something better. No, not Whatever you're thinking right now, you're wrong. Don't be embarrassed, Sable. It's a perfectly natural thing. Again, I'm not embarrassed. I'm not even ashamed anymore. Now I'm just dumbfounded. So we skip class in the woods together. That doesn't automatically mean we're doing something inappropriate. I'm pretty sure I'm in the right this time. Inappropriate. Sable and a pixie. I sigh in resignation. Looking at this situation objectively, I have to admit that Ray has a point. Pixies seek out humans specifically for the purpose of breeding. Knowing that, the student saw a pixie and a male human skip class and enter the forest together. Looking at it from Ray's perspective, I can't fault her for jumping to such a conclusion. Fine, I get what you're saying. I'll admit that we did seem a little sketchy. However, it's not what you're thinking. Hicks and I entered the forest in order to practice spell casting together, that's it. You skip class and hid yourself away in the forest alone with a pixie to practice spell casting? Sable, how dumb do you think I am? Don't pause like that, how rude. I didn't say anything. Besides, you're the one thinking rude thoughts. Tix and I were practicing and that's it. Or at least that's how it was supposed to be. Did practice not go well? You could say that. Oh, practice got cut short, huh? Was Sable a little quick? You know what? I like you better when your mouth is full. Anyway, the short version is that Tix wanted me input on a spell she was working on. I gave her my honest thoughts and, what? Big mistake. What was a big mistake? She asked me for my opinion and I gave it. What's wrong with that? Well, how do I put this? Sable, you can be a bit, what's the word I'm looking for? Mean. Mean? Me? Come on, guys. All I did was offer my objective opinion as a fellow spell creator. Oh boy, this can't be good. Sable, let me explain something to you. When someone asks for your input or your opinion on something, what they really mean is that they want you to encourage them or to agree with them. They don't care about your honest thoughts, they just want you to support them. But she was going about it all wrong. If I just told her to keep at it, she'd keep wasting her time and wouldn't get anywhere. Good intentions, poor execution. Exactly. Just because your heart was in the right place, that doesn't mean you did the right thing. She asked for your help, right? And you said something about her wasting her time. I didn't put it quite like that. That's what you said to us just a second ago. She'd keep wasting her time and wouldn't get anywhere. Yeah, but I didn't say that to Tix. I mean, I'm not in those exact words. Though now that I think about it, it's possible that I may have phrased my feedback poorly. I really was just trying to be helpful, but considering how Tix reacted, perhaps Ray does have a point. Maybe I should go talk to her. I still think that what I said was correct, but I will admit that I can be a bit blunt, arrogant, obtuse, lacking in people skills, tactless, a real enemy of women. Okay, I get it. Really though, I was just trying to help her. Experimenting with magic can be dangerous. So what, you do it too, don't you? Hypocrite. It's precisely because I do it that I know how dangerous experimenting with magic can be. Besides, it's not like I told her to stop experimenting, I just guided her towards a slightly different mythology. You guided her, did you say she's what a precious young man? No, shut up. Like you even know what that word means. Fine, let's say that I did say something insensitive. What should I do about it now? You're asking us? Not you, Eth. Your people skills are even worse than mine. Tactless. He's right, though. So, you want my help, do you? You could say that. You think you know where I went wrong, don't you? The instinct then instruct me on how knowledgeable, and yep, arrogant was right on the money. You at least ask for help like a normal person. Well, I suppose it can't be helped. I just have to teach my antisocial juniors a thing or two about being nice, sensible, reasonable human beings. Oh, me too? Remind me who's the arrogant one here. Also, since when are we your juniors? And you know that you aren't human yourself, right? Yep, you need my help, alright. Lesson 1. When a woman makes a mistake, don't point it out to her instead. Keep your mouth shut, smile, and nod. I chuckle weakly at Ray's lesson. That sounds like really bad advice. Lesson 2. Don't criticize this advice given to you by a woman. If you think she's wrong, then she's definitely right. Oh my god. Hearing Ray's second bit of advice, Eth looks at me skeptically. Is Ray talking about herself? It seems that way. Lesson 3. Ray, please stop. I interrupt Ray mid-sentence before she can go any further. Even if she calls these bits of advice lessons, her true intentions are clear. I know I'm the one who asked, but this really isn't what I had in mind. I just want to make up with Tix, that's all. No. If I don't properly educate you, you'll just make another mistake and make her hate you all over again. Tix doesn't hate me, I think. She will if you keep acting like, well, you. That's why, before things can get to that stage, I'm going to teach you all about the female heart. I don't need to know about the female heart. What if they don't have a heart? It's just a figure of speech, F. Anyway, moving on. Oh, don't move on. I think I just heard something interesting. Eth, what were you saying about moving on? Ray raises her voice and stomps her foot on the floor. With more aggression than necessary, she continues. Sable, listen carefully, because this is going to be useful information when you're trying to woo that pixie friend of yours. Do you know what your biggest problem is? My choice of friends? No, it's your inability to let little things slide. What? I let things slide all the time, especially when talking to Ray. Well, you aren't doing it often enough. Stop obsessing over little things and focus on the bigger picture. Who cares if your pixie friend isn't doing something the way you would do it? She's trying and you should encourage her. Even if she's doing something dangerous? Especially if she's doing something dangerous. When you are unsure about something and make a mistake can lead to disaster, the last thing you need is to have someone else fill your head with doubts. I guess that makes sense, kind of. Good. So you understand what I mean. Now back to how you're going to get into her pants. Okay, stop right there. I never said anything like that and you know it. What, isn't that your goal? Of course not. Why would you think that? Well, I mean, aren't pixies like super horny? I have been told that they usually leave their homes for the sake of finding a mate, yes, but that doesn't mean, see, she wants to make babies. That's why she's getting mad, stupid Sable. Make babies. Don't you start, F. And what do you mean that's why she's getting mad? minute ago, you were lecturing me about my attitude and how to talk to people. See, this is what I mean about him not being able to let things slide. What? Oh, I forget it. I was an idiot for listening to you in the first place. Go beg for scraps. I'll figure out how to approach Tix on my own. Nah, he's just off to go seduce his roommate. Or to get seduced. I'll be doing neither of those things. I'm going to apologize, explain myself, and then we'll both move on to the end. Sure. First comes love, then comes marriage. I'm all so done with this conversation. I make my escape while Ray is busy teaching schoolyard chants to Eth. Rather than enter our classroom, however, I decide to instead turn to my bedroom in hope of encountering Tix. Even after taking it out with Eth and Ray, I'm still not really sure how to handle these kinds of matters going forward. If anything, Ray's attempts to help have made me even more confused. But if there's one thing I did take away from our conversation, it was a reminder that my words don't always accurately convey my intent. I'm relieved that Eth is back to her usual self, but didn't she have to mess around like that? I really do need help here. And I cannot say that I have much faith in the majority of Ray's advice either. Honestly, I'm not sure how much of that was her screwing around and how much was Layla legitimately trying to help me. Sighing at my classmates' welcome, yet inconveniently timed return to normality, I walk towards my dorm room. All I can really say with certainty right now is that this problem will resolve itself. I need to talk this out with Tix and make sure there's no hard feelings between us. Obtaining the focus on my displeased roommate and my classmates, I open the door to my dorm room. Nope for the best. I got the burps bad, man. Hello? Tix, are you in here? I look around the room, entering cautiously. Tix has displayed frightening physical strength in the past, considering how she might feel about me right now. I don't want to take any chances. As soon as I realize, however, my caution is unnecessary, our dorm room is empty. Wherever Tix went, she isn't here. Tix, you aren't hiding, are you? If you are, please come out. I want to talk to you. Silence. If Tix is hiding somewhere around here, in her miniaturized natural form, she isn't going to let me know about it. I guess we won't be making up just yet after all. Alright, Tix, if you are here, I'll talk to you later. If not, I feel like an idiot for talking to myself. Figuring that Tix probably doesn't want to be found, let alone talk to me, I decide to return to my classroom after all. Just as Ray assured me earlier, our class proceeded without incident. The atmosphere is still uncomfortable, but that's about it. The general mood hasn't worsened, nor has anybody allowed the tension to go to their heads. In spite of how my classmates feel about the hunt and about one another, they haven't allowed their negative feelings to get the best of them. It seems that I was giving my class too little credit. They obviously aren't happy about the principal's little speech or our fellow students' extracurricular activities. They aren't losing their cool over it either. Perhaps they just need some time to come to terms with all of this. And maybe I do too. No! How did I get here? No! This isn't where I want to be. No! I don't know how I got here. I was hoping to do Lashaw's route, but I don't know how to get there. Well, I'm gonna end the episode here so I can title the next one Tix's Route. Oh well. We'll see where this one goes. See you guys in the next episode.